right, guys, welcome back to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. This is a guest that I was supposed to have on last week. Something happened. Something got
Oh.
mixed up. But I
Mm.
have Shiley on. Now, Shiley, I don't ever want to butcher people's last names and stuff. Now, they have it phonetically spelled out for your first name. How do you pronounce your last name?
So Shiley, you got that pretty well. Hakimian.
Hakimi, see, that's what I was gonna go with. Now,
Okay.
where,
Thanks for
where,
trying.
where is your heritage from? What is that last name? And I'm very curious because I'm always interested about new cultures and stuff like that.
Sure. So first off, I used a magical booking link and rescheduled our call like 2-3 weeks ago. So it happens, but you know what? I'm glad booking links exist and that I was able to put on a different time on your calendar too. So I know mix-ups happen, but we live and we learn, right? People make mistakes that happen. So I'm glad that we get to talk today. Look, cultural stuff is really interesting. It's very funny. Like if somebody has like John Smith as a name, no one ever gets asked, what is your background? What is your details? And I think for a lot of people who come from a variety of different cultures, that's uncomfortable. For the first question to be like, wait, what's your deal? Where are you from? It's like, are you authentic? Are you really from this place? And I think a lot of people get really angsty and uncomfortable about it. I know when people ask that question, they're trying to learn and they're trying to find out about somebody cool, different, and interesting. And so I will tell you what my backstory is because it makes me who I am today. My dad.
Hey, can I say one thing? I love your energy. I love your energy. It's like you took 2 30-milligram Adderall before you came on.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just messing. That's a joke, by the way. But
that's funny.
But what I'm trying to say is I love it. Oh, see, are you up in New York?
I got the cough. No, I'm in Chicago.
Are you? Oh, Corona.
No, I don't got Corona. I have asthma and I have cough. So
I know. But I have allergies down here, and every time I wake up with allergies, I'm like, oh my God, I got the Rona.
Yes. So do you want to know? Are you curious?
Yes, I want to know. Yes.
So I'll tell you this. So my dad came to the States from Iran a bajillion years ago, right before the Iranian Revolution. He came here as a student. Went to college for computer programming. So I have Hakimian is coming from his side of the family. And my mom's side of the family is Moroccan. So I got a bunch of good stuff from Morocco that I got into my story. And on top of that, all of my sides are Jewish. So a lot of people in the United States don't know that there's tons of Middle Eastern Jews out there because most people only see European background Jews in America. So you've got this combination right here in front of you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was about to ask that question, but a lot of people forget, Israel is in the Middle East. So I mean,
too.
But what I'm trying to say though is that's got to be a little bit of an interesting, like, Iran and Morocco. See, I would say Morocco would have the better of the two foods, right?
I'll just take it all. It's all delicious. Like Moroccan desserts are like unbelievable, and I feel like most people in the States have never even heard of them before. So and then Persian cooking is simple. It's meat, it's rice, it's stews, it's soups. You put them all together. It's like what not to love. It's all delicious. So there's so much goodness there.
That's good. Now let me ask you: Have you gone and visited where your family is from, or no?
Because
do you want to?
I would love to. It'd be a dream come true, but both of those countries got really dicey for Jewish people, and that's a big part of why people left. The Iranian Revolution was not so friendly to Jews, and my mom and her family got told within 2 weeks that they had to leave Morocco because it wasn't safe for the Jews if they stayed any longer. So I know that like both of my parents had to fight to come to this country, and both of my parents had to fight and choose to pick my city of Chicago. So like I am so appreciative of that they both kind of met here.
I've been to Chicago twice, and I love it. And people from Chicago, I always ask them this question because it is a very hot topic that I talk about, and we're going to get into it. I want to promote that, but before I get into my next topic, tell people if they want to be able to check you out, they want to be able to check out your content and everything that you're putting out. Where can they go? Like, where can they check it out? Do you have a website? It's right in the back. Your social media
right here.
Sherpa. Why'd you go with the Sherpa? Are you?
Well, there's a lot of questions there, Tuddle. You got a lot of questions there.
I have ADHD. Sorry.
Is that what it is? Okay, look, that's cool. You have something unique about yourself, and that's cool that you share that with your fans. Yes, I am all over the interwebs. YourSocialMediaSherpa.com is my business website. If you Google Shiley Hakimian, you will find my personal website. You'll find a YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. I don't love Instagram, but you'll have TikTok, everything. But my people love what I do on LinkedIn. That's
why don't you like Instagram?
I'm not excited about it. And I just heard that they have a lot of really bad policies that just came out this week that basically let Instagram own your content and like basically not pay you any royalties if they decide to borrow it. And they could sell it to other people without your consent. And I'm like, oh, that's a little dicey there. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff there. But that answers some of your questions. Do you want to know where the Sherpa came from?
Yes.
So I had been going around, my background's in education, and I always love the word teacher. And somebody knew that I was going around teaching social media and calling myself teacher. And she's like, people in our industry hate that. And this is a woman who's actually been on the radio for like 25 years here in Chicago. She's a big name here locally. If you want to look her up, Catherine Johns, she's absolutely phenomenal.
What
she's
station
amazing.
is she on?
Catherine Johns, she was big, huge. In the 90s. I mentioned her name to my dad and he's like, oh my God, yeah, I've heard it. She's great. Oh my gosh. But you can look her up. You look her up, Catherine Johns. She looks at me. She's like, Shiley, I've been holding back on you for like 3 months. I don't love your business name. Why don't we, what about the word Sherpa? And literally I just was like, okay, let me go buy the domain. Let me change it on a few places and see if I like it. And everywhere I went, there was Sherpa scooters, Sherpa mattresses, Sherpa accounting. And I was like, maybe this is a sign that I need to be your social media Sherpa. And my customers and my community loved it. So I became the Sherpa.
It's memorable. It is very memorable.
Great.
Go ahead. No,
great.
No,
I tend to be very memorable with my personality, so it works out.
So what I wanted to talk about, everybody wants to fight me on this debate. Okay. I went to Chicago. Okay. And I tasted
pizza? Be careful.
That is not pizza. It's lasagna.
Be careful. You're going to get...
It's lasagna.
Chicago's not going to call you again here if you're going to call
But
lasagna.
I will say I had a Chicago hot dog outside of the Fields Museum because I'm a nerd and I wanted to go to the Fields Museum. I checked out that big ass Tyrannosaurus Rex they got as soon as you walk through there. Yeah. But I ate like 3 Chicago hot dogs in one setting. What is your take? I love the hot dogs, but I got to tell you, if I wanted more bread and sauce, I'd go with lasagna instead of pizza.
Where'd you eat? Where'd you go?
I forget. It was a place right down, maybe a couple of blocks from Ditka's.
Malnati's, Gino's, Duo's.
It might have been Gino's. That rings a bell. But this was back in like 2002.
Doesn't matter the year. Doesn't matter the year. The pizza's consistent. There's consistently one that's the best. And if you didn't go there, I'm sorry, you didn't get the full Chicago experience. But you got to go to Lou Malnati's, or you can even actually ship it to your house wherever.
Did you say Illuminati's? Is there
Lou
actually
Malnati's?
Oh, I thought you said Illuminati. I was like, I'm not going to a pizza place called Illuminati.
We don't talk about the Illuminati. That's like secret lowdown here.
But in Chicago, I went around and I definitely look like a tourist because you could tell the tourists when you're walking around, and people, the locals, I'm not saying all the locals, but they can spot out the tourists. And you try to act like you're fitting in. And we went to a game at Soldier Field and we were hungry at the end of the night. And we have Crystals down here. Okay. We have Crystals, which is your White Castle up there. Okay. So White Castle with the mini burgers, we have Crystals down here. And we're like, hell yeah. When we're in Chicago, we're going to try some White Castle. And we got in a cab. And then we got into a very dicey area, and we walked into this White Castle, and when we walk up to the door, there is this humongous guy that is working security, and we're like, "Hey, we're from out of town. Do we have to be concerned?"
No,
I'm telling you. And he said,
"Okay,
how many White Castles have you ever been to that has an armed guard?" And I'm like,
"It's a castle."
Okay.
I mean, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I get it, but it was great. The guy was not. Everybody was nice. I think Chicago gets a bad rap.
Yes,
because there's bad areas in every city.
Look, I think it does get about. I think people think that the whole city is under siege. It's not. It's isolated, and most Chicagoans are completely ignorant to any sort of situation that other people outside Chicago are hearing. We live in there's different neighborhoods. There's everything. I want to ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about getting a bad rap. Whatever.
I
want to ask you about something here.
Okay, go ahead.
Reputation matters. I'm sure in the radio industry is not so huge. What you do and your behaviors, it matters. What I do in my business too. If I make a mistake, I own it. Something happens, right? But ultimately,
we're the rats of radio.
Who knows?
Radio people are the rats. We are at the bottom. We might even be cockroaches.
Interesting. And here's the thing, right? Like people hear things about you, people do all this stuff. The thing that like, and this is a social media nugget here before we dive into anything, is that people look you up when they want to work with you, when they want to hire you, when they want to consider you, when someone's referred you, they look you up, they Google you, and they look to see what you have on there. Yeah. And at the same time too, you probably did this. I probably did this. I'm going to tell you I did this. I Googled you as well. And I'm sure you looked me up before the show. I'm sure your team has looked me up, right? You wanted to figure out who the heck I was. You probably seen some things. You're like, oh, I wonder about this. I wonder about that. I looked you up and I saw something that was interesting. Can I tell you what I saw?
There's a lot of bad stuff about me. So I can't wait. See,
what do you think it is? It sounds like there's a plethora of this.
You know what though? I can't even begin to tell you because I am not proud of a lot of the things that I have done through my radio career. Right? I'll be honest. I'm not.
You can preliminarily start to make amends. Is there something you want to put out to your listeners about anything you may regret or any learning experiences or things you wish you did better?
I have grown as a person, but I think what makes a good content provider, somebody that is on the radio, is giving you their true, real opinion on things. Now, that's the thing about our country right now. We are in
authenticity. Okay.
All right. We are in this whole cancel culture like era right now. Like, people cannot voice their opinions because everybody says we have the First Amendment here in this country. Now, it's like our economy where if you say something, that's on you. And if your listeners get turned off by what you said, then you have to live with that. Okay. You have to live with that. But now everybody is so hurry and rushing to judge and try to get people fired or in trouble for their opinions, their First Amendment right, their speech. So like I said, a lot of the stuff that I say and do, I know is not popular speech, but that's the whole thing about the First Amendment. One of the things in it says to protect unpopular speech.
It's juicy. You're saying a lot of things here. I think there's a whole population of people that are like,
but I want to hear
what is this cancel culture? I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm going to tell you what it is.
Right.
Look, I feel you in the sense that there isn't a conversation being had and there is no mutual conversations about things that are controversial. At the same time, too, there's people's lives at stake when it comes to some of these things that are being canceled. So, but a lot of times that both parties are not understanding of each other's perspectives and things just kind of blow up and it's hard and it's complicated. I appreciate that you're willing to own that you've had challenges over the years, but I also appreciate that you are you and you put yourself out there and you own the decisions you make. You never know what consequences it comes. The First Amendment doesn't protect you from the consequences of your relationships with people. So that's interesting. So let me tell you what I saw. And it sounds like you're the kind of person that will have a conversation about this.
Yeah.
I looked you up. I saw what videos does he have talking to other people on your YouTube channel. And the first one that I saw that had some views that was recent was one where you're talking about a radio personality that you would eat.
Okay.
And in said video, you talk about slicing this said radio personality up. What was it? I don't even know.
Anna Hummel ass steak.
Anna Hummel. You wanted to cut her up, and you were talking about her in a talking about her body, her appearance, a little bit about, I see, you're ready. Write it down. If you're anxious, write it down because I see you getting real riled up. But the way you
No. It's I accidentally hit my headphones.
You hit your headphones.
Yeah.
It's just you called her a piece of meat. You said you'd slice her up, and you said that she should probably get a restraining order against you. That is real interesting. That might be how you truly feel, but if you want to get, let's say, certain women on this show, if you want, even me, like I was like, do I even do this show? Do I want to be associated with someone like that? And maybe that's okay. Maybe you're not.
Can I explain myself?
I want you to explain it, but I'm just telling you, it comes at a cost of what you put out. And if you're okay with that, you might lose on something that you've never knew you had a chance of a possibility on. But we're here for the conversation. So what are you going to say?
So see, I only gave you the highlights. See, that's the thing about content you put out. It's taken out of context. Okay.
It is, but that's the reality. Context is reality. So that's what people believe.
But I talked about a news story. I talked about a news story, okay? And you know how things are going on right now where we're getting overpopulated. Not enough food is being produced for people. There was a news story that came out that they can take one cell. They can take one cell from a human being. that person is not going to be hurt. They're not going to be killed, murdered, or anything like that. And what they do with that one cell is they grow a piece of human meat from it. Okay. So what I was saying was I went through and I talked about all the radio personalities that I would eat that I've worked with. If I could take a cell from their body and I could grow a steak out of it, what radio host would I eat? And hear my logic on this. Okay. Because all these radio people, they have egos. Okay. They have egos. So
you might have a little one too, I'm sure. No, absolutely no ego. Absolutely not. Okay.
No. But to be but to be honest though, but to be honest though, everybody, and I can even pit it to the field that you work in, which is social media. Okay. You have to have a little bit of an ego to think that people want to look and see what you do on a regular basis, because not everybody gets on social media. So you have to have a little bit. I'm not saying you're an egomaniac, but you have a little bit of an ego.
You want to be a radio personality, a star. Sure. Everybody wants to be the star of their own industry. Absolutely.
But the reason that I talked about this is because right now I'm out of radio. I've been out of radio for a year. I take time away to be able to take care of my parents who are elderly. They're in their 70s.
Real. Thanks for sharing that.
Both have underlying health conditions. One has diabetes. The other one is in remission from cancer, from chemotherapy. And you know that their immune systems are down. So I took some time off away from radio, but I wanted to start a podcast. So right now, I don't have a terrestrial radio show to be able to promote the things that I'm doing. So you have to do stuff to get attention. And guess what? When I talked about that one woman, guess what? A nationally syndicated radio show talked about my podcast. My downloads went through the roof. So there was no disrespect there. Do I really want to eat somebody? Hell no. I have no criminal record at all. I am your average Caucasian Southern Florida cracker that you could ever think of. And that's how it is.
Look, you just laid out exactly who you are to a lot of people. And I appreciate you sharing about the parents. I think so many people struggle with taking care of their families, and it comes at a big cost to people in their careers and their families and everything. So I applaud you for that. But the thing is too, like, it's cool that you got some press. Attention is fascinating. You can get attention by doing lots of crazy things, but your reputation matters too. Is that, I don't know, maybe you got a gig out of it. I have no idea, but like, it's harder. It's if people see you as that, and if it's me, if I'm your like competitor, if I'm your next radio station, right? If I see that, I might not even give you the call because I already know you might have all this attention, you might have all these followers, but if I feel like you're going to make my community not feel great, I'm not going to consider you for that opportunity. That's okay. If that's what you want, and there's a demographic that you want to reach that is that, what do you call it, the cracker community or whatever?
No.
You can definitely get it, but you're going to lose some other people as well.
No, I said, let's see, I talk a lot that a lot of people from up north know what Southerners mean when they say things, but Florida cracker is, everybody thinks cracker, it gets a bad thing, like it's a racist term that other minorities call white people and stuff. No, it comes from being a Florida cracker. That's what they call it, because it comes from the cattlemen that used to crack their whips to get the cattle into the pens and herd them.
Is that a good thing? Is that a positive term, or is there any sort of
people are proud?
Are they proud of this?
Yeah, people are in Florida. Yeah, I mean, it's like a term of endearment to be called a Florida cracker.
I'm gonna Google this because I'm wondering if this is let's see. Oh, it has something to do with some really long-term history here. Is there?
They're gonna say that there's some racist connotation to it.
Interesting. Okay, what if there is racist connotation? Do you think that would depends? Like, who do you want to serve? If you want to serve the Florida crackers, great. They might not mind a little racism, but that's pretty dicey to be very proud of something that has a lot of racist undertones.
Okay, then tell me what the racist undertones are.
Well, you just told me that there was some sort of racial undertones to this.
There might be. I said, but you can read anything because people will make that. Everything, it comes from being a Floridian and being a cattleman, and they used whips to herd and keep their flock together. I don't know. You don't call cows flocks, but
it just sounds a little. I see Civil War notes in here. It's a little funny. It's a little funny, but interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, dude. I mean, look it up. Now, let me ask you this though. Now, I can get this, and I've been talking about this a lot. I feel like people from up north judge people from the south.
I was just in the South last week, so it's
Where
very
were you?
different. I was in Lexington, Kentucky.
I
Very
mean,
COVID-friendly adventure to
but
Lexington.
you're talking about Kentucky. Now we're talking, there's subsects of Southerners. Kentucky, you're around the hill people. You're around the hillbillies. Those are the mountain people. Those are the moonshiners. You will easily
I didn't meet any of those people last week. I'm not gonna tell you that.
Well, tell me, hey, guess
We're
what?
in
If you want
Lexington, it's a university town. So I actually have been to the other side of Kentucky as well. I was there for a whole week twice over the last 4 years for a whole week more in Eastern Kentucky. So those are a little bit more. We didn't even have phone service. Yes, I was supposed to be in Florida in February. I was there last year in March of 2019, and then I usually go there. My dad's going to be in Florida tomorrow, so
hey,
I've been to Florida a bunch.
I'm doing something on the fly here because
he's moving.
I'm moving because I'm a nerd and I don't want to miss the great
We're
conjunction.
on Crips.
Yeah, I don't want to miss it. It's going to be too cloudy for the great conjunction.
Is that a trailer? Did you have a big old trailer over there?
No, I mean I live in an RV park. Here, look, see?
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, look.
Oh, do you have a pond?
That is the intercoastal. That is the intercoastal waterway in Florida. So, but yeah, you're not checking out the Great Conjunction tonight?
What is the Great Conjunction?
Oh my God, you're a social media person. You don't even know what the Great Conjunction is.
Look, but you're what you define as a social media person isn't the same way I define a social media person. So I don't know what you mean by that.
Great Conjunction is the merger. Well, they're not merging. They're still 40 million miles away. But Saturn and Jupiter, if you look in the southwest sky.
I just Googled it. Thanks,
yeah,
NASA.
it is the closest that Jupiter and Saturn have been in over 800 years. They're going to look like they're going to be one star, but they're not. They're still 40 million miles away. It's just from the perspective.
Interesting. Okay, so where do we go from looking into how you show yourself online to space? It's very interesting. What was the connection there? And if not, it's okay too.
No,
I love that. We can jump around on a radio show here.
No, it's just I was being very I don't know. I was being very just weird and selfish because I've been waiting to see the Great Conjunction in a while, and I wanted to see if it was out. No.
That's very cool. Oh, so you didn't want to forget it. That's really cool. Yes. I think that's awesome. I think science is. There's a lot of interesting stuff with science. So,
do you realize that Kennedy Space Center is only 20 miles south of where I'm at right now?
Oh, you're kidding!
I
grew up. A lot of that culture there. Okay.
Yeah, I grew up. I remember in kindergarten, from kindergarten all the way through school, they brought us out for every single shuttle launch. And one of the things here, this is social media related. Look how I'm going to tie this together. Elon Musk and SpaceX is doing such a great job with their social meetups that they have. They invite social media content providers to come and cover it. They're not inviting the big media people out. They're inviting social media people that are into space, nerds, stuff like that, to be able to come out and cover it because they think that is a bigger bang for their buck than just having local news come out and cover the events.
It definitely can be. And here's the thing, like every single one of those content producers is a completely different audience of people that they want to serve. The news is going to get you a certain general population, probably not a lot of millennials, if you want to be honest here. I haven't watched a lot of the news in decades. Decade? I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of the news. But with every sort of individual person, like I have a friend who runs a very prominent science podcast. And if she does the show, she's got a lot more people that are into space and science. I mean, she has space posters in her apartment. She's going to have a very different take and a very different reach than the news channels will. And giving her that opportunity means that she can create content that she knows her community is going to find valuable. And her community might not be 10 billion people, but it's going to be a very tight-knit group of people that are cared for and engaged by her and her team.
Loyalty.
Right? So what is that loyalty? What do you think of that loyalty? Because I want to put this back to you because it kind of touches on everything else that we just talked about. Like, what does that loyalty mean to you?
It means a lot. It really, really does. And I take a different thing when I'm doing my podcast. When I talk about the people that consume my content, I don't call them fans. I don't call them listeners. I call them supporters. Okay. And hear me out on this because I'm a big time soccer fan. Okay. And English Premier League soccer, watch a lot of
Oh,
that.
fancy.
They call all, no, it's really not. If you've been to a Premier League game, it's a bunch of drunks punching horses and stuff, cops on horses and stuff. So it gets pretty crazy. But I digress. What I'm trying to say though is I call them supporters because I look at my supporters. They're just as important as me on what I'm trying to do because I don't have a platform anymore to promote that stuff. This is all going to grow for those fans, those supporters that like what I'm doing. They're going to tell their friends, their family, their loved ones, their neighbors, just random people.
I mean, they could
about the show.
They could if they like it and they feel trust with you and they feel a relationship with you. What if I'm your biggest fan from like all your days on various radio shows and beyond, and I hear you say something that irks me? I can do two things. And I could have done this today too. I could have not talked to you today, could have walked away, or I could have said, hey, you know what? Let me talk to you. Because maybe, do you think you have, maybe you said you had more to say? Like even with the situation I mentioned, you said, hey, can I share my perspective? Is that right?
Yeah, I'm hitting my headphones again.
Your headphones.
But no,
right.
I mean, go ahead.
There was a conversation that I said, you know what? I'm going to offer you a chance to have a conversation, which means that maybe you don't lose me. Maybe you keep me around. So there's one thing of like, let me put something out there that's controversial and inflammatory potentially and get some attention. Great. But if I'm your longtime listener, I might say, you know what? I've had enough of this. I'm not going to listen anymore. That person isn't going to tell their friends about you. They aren't going to do that. And you have to decide, is that person worth it to you? Is that someone that you want to at least have a conversation with, or that you have enough trust with for them to say, hey, Tuddle, I want to have a talk to you, or they're just going to walk away. And that's where that level of care and engagement is really important. So, and that's part of what social media is. It's a conversation. That's what radio is, right? Like I think I saw on your website, I think this is really cool. Actually, I have a podcast expert that said this is a great thing, that you can have people call in with questions. And I'm like, wow, what a cool way for someone to be validated. If somebody was ever wanting to ask a question or a follow-up to your show, they could, right? That's an open conversation. But when you just say, hey, I'm going to say all this stuff, and people don't trust you enough to say, hey, I want to talk to you, this bothered me, then you're going to just lose them and they're not going to give you the chance to earn them back. Maybe there were people that you had from, I don't know, I'm sure you've had thousands and thousands of eyeballs over the years, but you don't have all of them in your hands anymore. You can lose people with every one of those pieces of content. I've got more questions for you. What is your reaction?
All right. My reaction is, and you brought up how people can leave me voicemails and stuff.
Yeah, I thought that's cool.
This is how I've always looked at things. Okay. Some people in radio or podcasting, they are afraid to take the people that have the opposite opinion of them, or people that are mad at them, or people that hate them, or they think that they suck.
You're not scared, which I appreciate.
No, do you want to know what I tell them? I will put a hater on before I will put on a supporter, because I think that is more engaging. It's more polarizing to have that person on, to have a conversation with them, And I will have an open dialogue with somebody. And I'm not going to make it personal when somebody has an opposing opinion to me. Now, when you start making it personal, like talking about personal things and getting off topic, that's when I go to a different level, and then I will make it personal. But I, for the most part, love to have open debates. If you hate me, if you think I suck, call in, tell me why I'm horrible, because I want to know.
But here's the thing. Do you think, like, look, the trolls are going to do it. The trolls they love to do that. They eat that stuff up, right? They're going to talk to you. They're going to give you the wildest of shows. But the people that are going to be your fans, who may not ever like, they may never comment, they may never follow, they may never give you a Apple review on any of your shows. Do they feel comfortable enough to actually tell you how they feel? They're never going to do. The middle is actually where your biggest audience is going to be. But if they don't feel like they can talk to you, they're going to just leave. And that's the question. Is that agree? Do you agree with that?
I mean, I see your point.
It's a real point.
I know. No. I mean, I see your point, but guess what? That audience in the middle, that's boring.
It is boring. You don't have to be the middle. You don't have to be the middle. You don't have to be boring. I'm 100% with you. I think most podcasts are kind of like, oh, I'm going to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. It's whatever. We both know this, I'm sure. But
you're never going to make everybody happy, though.
No. I'm not saying that.
If you try to strive to please everybody, you're going to miss out on that core audience. But
you're right. I'm 100% with you. Like, you don't want to be totally safe, for sure. But your relationship with the audience, it's not about what you say on the show. It's that your level of care for them as individuals, as people, as followers on your Twitter or whatever. That's the thing that matters. You don't have to be the boring middle, but you have to at least care about these people enough for them to even give you the chance to make up for something that maybe was dicey. Does that mean you have to be safe?
Have you listened to today's podcast? The one
I listened to about the therapist. I listened to the one a little bit about.
Yeah. That was a great one.
Good. I'm so glad.
But like here, I'll give you an example. I want to see if this offends you or not. Okay.
Oh,
interesting.
This is
what I talked about. Okay. I want to see if this offends you. So I don't look down on people that believe in religion. I believe in a higher power, but organized religion completely turns me off. It really turns me off. I hate it. I think churches should be taxed. I think
actually that's a big juicy one. That's a good one, because it's true, they pay nothing.
They pay nothing. Like Joel Osteen, the guy down in Austin,
oh my gosh,
in Houston. Okay, this guy just got his church got a
how big is he?
He's worth $100 million. $100 million.
Jeez.
His congregation.
Pop up on the TVs.
Guess what? Guess how many people he can fit in his church? 52,000 people.
You're kidding me. That's insane.
So just think about this. If each person donated $1, that's $52,000. You know those people are not donating. But what I see? Oh yeah. So we were talking about this, and I don't like. Listen, if God created us, if there is a God, if there's a Jesus, He created us. He created us to have free will. Now, you would also think that, if God's the creator of everything, God has humor because God created humor. I said that Joseph from Joseph and Mary was cuckolded by God because he, just went right in there, impregnated Mary, and Joseph was like, did he get any say in this? I got a lot of heat on that one. I've already gotten a lot of emails on that one.
What did you do? Did you have conversations with them? Did you react?
I haven't returned them yet. I just been running busy. I try to return all emails by the end of the night. So
it's a lot of stuff. Look, I get that there's a lot of shock value to everything you said, and maybe you meant it, maybe you didn't mean it, maybe whatever. No, I meant it. That conversation you have with every one of those people that emailed you, probably people are going to be like, oh my God, I hate you, whatever. Like, they had the balls to say something, right? Mm-hmm. Your reaction to them is what's going to determine if they're going to stick around or they're going to leave. And you might say, you know what? Exactly what you told me here. Like, this is what I believe. This is my perspective. I'm open to having a conversation with you. Then you might get the chance to win this person over. Look, that's a one-by-one approach, but that person, if you can win them over there, and this is something we know from marketing and social media and beyond, is that when you have a bad situation with a customer, or in your case, a listener, the way you react when there's something tense and difficult is going to determine how much they appreciate you to the next level. Because unless you have a problem, like whenever I have a customer service issue, if the company takes care of me better than ever before because of that issue, I'm going to love them 10 times more than just where I was before that call. It's how you handle the conflict. And that's what's going to determine if they're going to have that conversation with you. And if they do, they might appreciate, say, you know what, that's part of who you are. And I get that you're open to having conversation. I don't hate you anymore. Or maybe I'll give you the chance and I'll listen to you again. But if you just blow them off and say, F you, go away, you've lost them. No, I don't do that. That's the difference of what I'm talking about here, is that, like, do you have a community that trusts you enough to say, I'm going to say how I feel, or that they know that they can have that conversation with you, whether you still believe what you say or not? That's the difference of an engaged following. Do you have that trust with your people?
I would hope that I have that trust, because I spill my guts. I share every single thing. I don't know how much. I don't know how much you've done research on me, but last September,
a little bit today, and a little bit before. What do you got?
Last September, I tried to commit suicide.
That's pretty deep.
And I failed, and that was right before the radio show. And you know what I did? An hour and a half later, when the microphones opened up, I told everybody what I did and what I tried to do, and it got me Baker acted. I got Baker acted for almost 11 days, in a mental institution. But a lot of people want to ask, like, why do you share that type of stuff? Why did you share that? Why didn't you you keep that private. That's something you probably should keep private. And there were two things. There were two determining factors on why I did it. Number one was I was scared, and I was
Yeah.
scared that I might try it again. I wanted to be held accountable. I wanted people to know what was going on. But one of the other big things was, what if there's one of my listeners or supporters out there going through what I'm going through right now,
Absolutely.
and me sharing that? Yeah, it sucked, because that was the worst 11
It's
days of my
huge
life.
what you've done. Yeah.
It was the worst 11 days of my life. So, I don't want people to think that I am this egomaniac that judges everybody else and I'm not wrong, because I'm very fallible. I am very, like, I am a messed up person. I really am. And I share every bit of that. Even if it's embarrassing or not, I share every single aspect
Sure.
of my life on the air. And yes, it's ruined a lot of my relationships with people personally. I used to be married. I was married for 11 years. I wanted to go for radio. That was my dream, and I neglected my marriage. I didn't cheat. I didn't do anything like that. I wasn't a bad husband. I wasn't physically abusive. I did everything that I
I
needed
would
to
hope you're
do.
not physically abusive. That I
But
assume that should
I
not be anyone's
I understand that,
baseline.
but
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it all out there, covering all bases. I don't want people to think, oh,
I
there must have been
appreciate
something else
that.
you're not telling us, Tuddle. But it sucks. Me and my ex-wife are still friends. It sucks.
That's
It's one of my biggest regrets. But I mean, some people chase that dream. People are chasing that dream that they've always had, and sometimes it's to the detriment of relationships and personal relationships.
I love that. I want to just like snaps for you and applaud you for being real. I think that's something that I really admire about you. That's something that even myself, like I haven't shared my deep dark secrets on the internet, and for you to do that, I think is amazing. Everything you've said about you want people to know that you're out there and that you've lived this. And there's, like you said, there's tons of people that are now listening who are going to say, "Wow, I can relate to you. You get me." And it's great that someone shared it, because nobody else in their lives is going to do what you did. So I want to say,
Well,
first off, congratulations on that. Uh, Secondly, I see you're itching to say something here, but but like that's like the real guy, right? You're the real person behind this,
mhm.
screaming out like interesting, juicy, kind of controversial stuff. Like some people say all press is good press or whatever, but it's like, what who's the guy that you want people to know you as? Who do you want, and what flammable parts are there that you want them to see, and what is it? Because all of these are going to shape how people see you. What do you want them to know
Mhm.
you for?
Okay,
Who are you
I
online?
mean, I'm just the average everyday person. I have my faults. I have my issues, because see, a lot of people ask me this, with this podcast. I would rather interview regular everyday people that are interesting, that have an interesting story, instead of celebrities, because celebrities, they control the narrative. All right. They control the narrative to such a point
I mean, they have
that
PR
these,
people.
I know, but these people, they
That's true.
do not seem relatable. Do they? I
No,
mean, they
they
don't
don't
seem
live.
relate.
Yeah, like all the celebrities who were in Corona, they're like, "Oh, I have to be alone in my new massive house all by myself." Like, oh, shut up! Like, I'm with you. Like, it's definitely
Exactly.
not relatable. And even in the
Like,
business world, like people are trying to sell to small businesses who've never had a small business in their life. Every corporation, it's not relatable. I'm with you.
mhm.
Yes, go on.
Okay,
I'd love to
so
hear this
so I
anti-celebrity greatness.
so I do want to flip this, because it just seems like you've kind of been taking control of this interview now.
I mean, this is a
No,
conversation.
I know, Charlie. But I want
But
to
it
talk
is
about
social
this.
media. What I'm asking you is a social media question. Everything I've just
I
talked about is social media.
Now, you being on social media, you get
Yeah.
a lot of thirsty guys out there. You get a lot of guys. I'm sure your DMs are filled with some pretty horrible things, or messages like, "What's up, Shy Lee? Can I holler at you? You want to go out?" All this stuff. Do you get that type of stuff? Because I do feel that
I know a
there.
lot of women who do, and it's unfortunate.
Now, let me ask you, how do you feel about, okay, so I don't post a lot on TikTok. I use TikTok to find audio bites and stuff like that to be able to use, okay? Now, I'll see
Mhm.
somebody, a woman, she'll be busting her ass, taking time to write out a funny comedic bit or something entertaining on there, and she'll get like 9 or 10,000 likes or views. And then you just got a chick, maybe 21, 22 years old, that stereotypical I'm gonna do everything, I'm getting everything worked on, and she's just dancing in front of the camera, and she'll have like 1 million views. Do you think that hurts the image of some women? Because like a lot of women want equal rights, they want to get treated, and I agree that all should be said and done, but is this going to have a damaging effect in your opinion?
Oof, this is a juicy question. Here's the thing. I think that this is kind of along the same lines of like growing up when women see advertisements of women's bodies being exploited or being skinny, and everyone thinks I have to be skinny. There's a lot of that stuff. And I feel like there's for sure what you just described is going to perpetuate some of that for a lot of young women. And this is where I think,
like that Charlie
D'Amelio. Oh yeah,
D'Amelio, like she's the most popular person on TikTok. What does she do? Answer me this, because I could find.
Look, if she wants to be cute and pretty and do her thing and it works for her, great. She's got a business, but
what about the people that spend like 3 or 4 days writing a bit or something?
But that reputation that they build, being strategic and thoughtful about who they are, they might not get 1 million followers. This should not be your goal. That should not be the goal, but they're going to get people who are into what they do, who are going to believe in them. And if you're darn consistent about you being you and your authentic self, you can build a community. And if you're going out there and you're engaging with your following one by one, that makes a very huge difference. Yes, you put something out that's flashy, amazing, and perfect, and perfection. You can get the views and you get the traction. Great. But you might get that attention for whatever reason, and who knows, and whether you like it or not, Charlie D'Amelio is profiting off it. But if I'm going to put stuff out there, I want people to like me for me and not for me shaking my booty. And look, I can't decide that. They watch and they do whatever they want. But
I would pay to see you do that, though.
That's inappropriate. Why are you saying that? That's disgusting. Like, that's absolutely disgusting.
But wait a minute.
But it's real. I don't want to. Ignorance is bliss on this one.
Wait. What? All right, please, let's break this down. Okay, you made the comment. People seeing fake stuff.
Yeah.
So okay.
You said you were going to pay for that. I'm like, that just,
okay. All right. What I mean, pay, but like
that's like.
Okay, but hear me out. Hear me out on this. Okay. And it's going to be a stretch, but it's going to be a point, and I hope you see it. Okay.
Okay.
If I
Look, but like, here's the other part too, though. I'm going to say this is that it's very different to have 1,000 eyeballs because whatever D'Amelio is doing her thing. It's very different than having, let's say, 50 people or 100 people that now you've met on TikTok that let's say for me, even I'll use myself as an example, that I've said hello to on TikTok. There's plenty of friends I've made on TikTok, other social media managers, people who run synagogues in different cities, because I talk to them and I relate to them. And now I'm not a stranger to them. I'm a real person. And those are the people that are going to like and comment on my stuff. That's the thing that matters, that there's a relationship to it. Whether my stuff is perfect or not, the relationship you have with the people who watch makes a huge difference. And I think for a lot of those people who get tons of views, and even the views that you got for your video are fleeting, is that those people will take your attention, but are they going to come back? Are they going to sign up for your email list? Are they going to be podcast subscribers? I don't know. Are they going to be consistent? No, but when you have an engaged following that cares about you, you not only get the trust to have a conversation, but you get people who are give you the chance to watch their stuff because they know that you're a good person. They'll say, I don't know if this video is going to be funny. Maybe it's not perfect, but I like Shiley. I'm going to look at her stuff. And that's literally how my LinkedIn is doing what it's doing now. It's because I care about each individual person that's there. At least I do the best I can. And that's what I want to ask you. Are you doing that for your people? Who do you care about? And who do you care about, and who do you want to care about you? And have you cared for them back?
I care about every single person out there. And a lot of people would think, from the South, you're either racist or homophobic and stuff like that. No, I'm not at all. Like, I treat everybody the same. I here in Orlando, where I worked for 10 years, we have a very big LGBTQ gay and lesbian community here, and you wouldn't believe all the fundraisers and stuff that I've done.
Sure.
Now, hear me out.
Sure.
Now, will I make an off-color joke that is not hateful, that homosexuals or something might get offended by? Yeah, I might do that, but I am an equal opportunity offender. That's how I've always looked at it. I make fun of my own self. I make fun of every single thing, because we as people, we are different. We have differences. And when we can have an
Sure.
open dialogue with each other, we all joke. We all joke. And comedy is one of the biggest healing things.
I know.
And
Comedy is comedy, the line in comedy. It's a hot topic.
now
It's
let me
delicate. I'm with you.
let me
I love stand-up comedy, but that line has been very delicate for the success or failure of stand-up comedy, and it's a hard topic. So I'm
but
just
okay,
acknowledge that with you.
you getting offended, that's kind of on you, right?
It is, but it can be like
Why would
I
you
can be offended, I can leave. And that's fine. But if I'm your like hardcore follower and I'm offended, don't you care about my feelings a little bit? If I've been at every one of your shows, I've got your autograph signed, wouldn't you worry about me just a little bit? You don't have to appease me. You don't have to be neutral. But wouldn't you want to like check in and say like if I was bothered, wouldn't you want me to have that chance to have a conversation, or do you want to just give it up? Because
now,
that's two different reactions here.
okay, I had a great program director. He ended up firing me, I think, twice through my career. He said the joke is always funny when it's not on you.
But it's if it's at someone else's expenses, it's very difficult. I mean,
So if
but
you
here's the
ever
thing.
said,
Let me challenge you though.
okay,
Comedians like are good at writing jokes. They're writing them for hours and hours and hours. You have plenty of choices for jokes. Can you give one up? And can you write one that doesn't have to be at someone else's expense? I think there was a whole video about this with they actually made a joke out of a joke that they changed because it was so it hurt someone else. And they changed the joke a little bit and ended up getting a better joke as a result. Why is that such a difficult why is it so painful to give up?
I think we're always going to have our differences. Now, this is good. This
sure,
is gonna be
I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
okay,
I'm
but
not disagreeing with you again.
hear me out. In this country, we have absolute right and of freedom of speech, except slander. You can't go into a movie theater and yell fire, and a whole bunch of people get stampeded and die. You just can't do that type of stuff.
But
okay?
your reputation isn't protected. Your reputation isn't protected.
Okay,
But slanders you.
But hear me out on this though. It is here. I'll take it even further. Okay, it is not against the law in this country to be racist, as long as you are not physically hurting them or keeping them from making a living or keeping them from living their everyday life. Hear me out.
I know, but I'm just thinking of so many people, if they choose to even listen to you, are going to be like, oh my God, what is he saying? Okay, I want you to hear yourself out, but like, I'm just hearing people being like, oh my gosh, what is he saying? Like they want to react to this video. I can just hear it.
Do I support it? No, I detest it. I hate every single thing, but that is their right as human beings, Americans. If they want to be racist, as long as they're not physically harming somebody, keeping somebody from making a living, practicing their religion, going about their every single day life, a guy can sit on any street corner. Now, hear me out, okay? So if a white person or like, we won't even go white person, let's just say somebody says derogative something to another race or something, okay? And that other person that they said it to gets offended. Does he have the right to go over and punch that person in the face?
No one should be able to punch anybody in the face unless they're at risk.
But it's just words. I think we are taking words too seriously.
No, because words mean something. Words mean something. They can affect like I'll even use your perspective there. Like you sharing your story about the things you've gone through and the hospitalizations and all that kind of stuff. That means something for someone to hear, hey, I'm like you. But for some kid, I'll give it no. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this thing.
Go ahead.
Like we did a thing when I was younger, and it's still a huge thing from the Gay Lesbian Straight Education Network called Day of Silence, where people would choose to take a vow of silence to echo the silence that LGBT youth face. Is that they're constantly hearing stories. These kids who are like in the closet or figuring out their sexual orientation or their gender identity or whatever it is, they're hearing people tell them that who you are is not okay, who you are is bad, who you are shouldn't exist, or you're an abomination, or it's it's not against God or whatever it is. And they're hearing that every day. And the suicide rate amongst LGBT youth is through the freaking roof. It's at I don't know, it's 3 or 4 times higher than their like, let's say their straight counterparts. You're telling me that words don't mean anything? You think somebody who is a student of color who's being told that they shouldn't go for the same path in high school as everyone else because they're not going to actually achieve their goals. You think that those words internalized year over year over year, or somebody looking at someone at a shop thinking that they're going to steal and asking them, can I help you? Being followed. You don't think those words and those actions pile up against someone? You don't think every person in the world that has anxiety that's heard like, oh, I don't know if I want to have you at this party, or like, or they don't want to go to events because they're scared they're going to offend somebody, or whatever it is. They don't want to raise their hand in an audience. You don't think that those words and those feelings are going to, and maybe this is true for you, I don't know, but like, you don't think those words are going to hurt somebody? You don't think that that's going to make someone internalize? That could lead to suicide for all we know. That's pain. That's text messages to some, like you hear these stories about this girl who convinced her boyfriend to kill himself over text messaging. Her words like led to, I think, her getting like some sort of like bad like sentence in jail for what she did.
She's in jail. She's
You've
definitely
heard
in jail.
that. Those are words. Those are words, Tuddle. They have power. They have power. Have you been bullied I've been bullied as a child. You know how many days I came home crying from school? Those were words and they broke my heart.
Okay, can I tell you the type of stuff I get?
I'm sure. I would love to know.
I'll give you an example. As soon as I got out of the hospital, you know, I tried to hang myself from a ceiling fan. You know how many pictures? You know how many people that sent me pictures of ceiling fans? You need to get a stronger fan.
Those are words, right? They hurt.
No, they hurt, but they're words. Are we going to go so far to control people's thoughts and opinions?
It's not controlling thoughts and opinions. It's what's, there's a safety matter to this. There's a safety matter to this. And it's not about control. Like, is it some kid that's going to not commit suicide,
it sucks.
Die from suicide? Like it's okay. Oh, you should just toughen up and grow.
Where are their parents? But what
about you, right? Okay. You've been told to kill yourself or something on your thing. Like that sucks. Like that's painful. Like that's not fun. Like,
that was because I was so drugged up on so many different medications and stuff, thanks to big pharmaceutical. And that's what led me to my to what happened to me. What I'm trying to say is, like, are we going to start throwing people in jail for words? And I know we're getting way off of social media and stuff.
No, it's related. It is very related. What you say is your reputation. What people see of you online becomes who you really are. It's what people see of you. It's up to you, Tuddle, and you and your team to like paint a picture of who you are. Do you want to be known as the Tuddle of today, or the Tuddle of, I don't know what you did 20 years ago, or do you want to be a new, best improved version of you?
See, okay, here, I'll give you an example. Okay. People want to talk about all the bad things I've done, but you also know what I don't talk about, because I think it would make me look like a selfish prick, but I'm talking about it right now. You know, I could be going out, hey, look at all the charities I've done. I did a gun buyback program every single year. People choose to ignore the good stuff. They only
but if you're using it to stack and be like, hey, look at me, I did this thing, so please look at me.
But I don't talk about
self-serving. I know, but you're talking about it a little bit now, and it's funny.
I'm trying to make a point to.
I know. I see you're making the point. I appreciate that you're trying to make a point. I'm just saying.
So what I'm trying to say is, people only look at the bad things. They don't look at the good things people do.
And people have been crucified. I'm not going to lie. People have been crucified on the internet for mistakes that they've made, their companies have made, things they've said, tweets that go out. And it's harsh. And it's, I think people who get like completely destroyed on the internet, like their lives are going to be a mess, because whenever you Google someone, they're going to be this. But there's, at some level, there's accountability of like, you know, for actions. And it's how you react to those problems. Look, there's celebrities who have been destroyed left and right, but it's how you handle it when you've been in that situation that makes all the difference. And that's where I think it's the same for you as a podcaster as well. It's like how you handle that conversation is going to make the difference of people sticking around or walking away.
Listen, if I say something that gets me kicked off of every podcasting platform that I'm on, I lose a bunch of listeners. That's on me. That is on me, and I will live by those consequences. I just will.
That's okay, but just know you're going to live with the results of those consequences. That you're going to have an audience
doing it every day.
Okay, but like your audience, you either like, who do you want to impress and who do you not want to? That's the question for you, is that yes, you're going to lose followers, and that's okay. Like not everything I say people are going to agree with. Not everything that people will see of me online is going to make them think I'm the social media manager for them. I'm the perfect person for a very specific type of audience. And that's me. And I'm proud of that. But like, and I know that I'm not going to serve everyone. It's okay. And I think you understand that too. But ultimately, it's who do you want to serve and who do you want to feel that they can trust? Who do you actually care about? And do you know those people and have you engaged those people?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I meet them. I email back every single person that sends me an email.
I think that's amazing. Good for you.
I do that. I try to reply to every single person on social media.
And that's amazing. And that's a great tip for any listeners here.
Yeah, I do that type of stuff. The way that I look at it, okay, if you're not being the real you, you're putting on a facade for those people. They don't like you for who
For
you
sure.
really are. They like you for the person that you're portraying to them. Um,
Exactly. And so
but
you have to be okay with however you portray, which it sounds like you are. So that's great.
I mean,
You do
I'm a
something that
good
most of my
person.
clients don't do. You share who you are. And I think that's really beautiful that you let yourself be vulnerable and you share your story and you share your thoughts and opinions fruitfully. I think that's beautiful. I'm going
I
to commend
know
you
that
for that.
I know that I'm a good person. I am,
And that's good.
and you know, like I do a lot of great things, and I don't talk about a lot of those because I do it because I want to do it. And what I'm trying to say, there was one last thing I wanted to get into before it left. Well,
Yeah,
actually,
for sure.
two things. Um,
And yes.
what needs to be done? Because I've been talking a lot about First Amendment and free speech. Does some things need to change when it comes to social media about what gets flagged, what doesn't get flagged?
Oh, it's a whole big can of worms. Yeah.
You know, I kind
It's
of
hard.
described this when they were talking about the press and freedom of speech when our Constitution was written. They had no idea we were going to have this little box that's going to have moving pictures on it and stuff that people will
No.
be able to get their news. And
It's so complex.
they had to change and make new rules when it comes to the media. They just had
100%.
to do it. So are we going to get to the point as technology changes? Are we going to have like an FCC of social media? Not to that point, but what
Oh,
I'm saying
yeah.
are we going to be is the government going to put down some guidelines eventually?
Potentially. It's delicate AF. Just Facebook, just seeing what the complications with
And
Facebook.
for my audience that don't know what AF is, that means as fuck. Okay. By the way, I'm just letting you know. Even though she doesn't want to say.
Look, no, yeah, I don't know. I'm delicate here. I believe me. But like with Facebook too, like how does Facebook moderate all this kind of stuff? At some point, you're gonna like offend a certain demographic, and like we see this a lot with like anti-Semitic related content. Doesn't get blocked as much as other things, and it just lets it slide, and it like kind of makes
Ice Cube was out there spouting all types of anti-Semitic stuff,
and it lets it go slide. But then here's the thing with Facebook: if I'm Zucks, right? If I'm Mark Zuckerberg, I'm wondering here if I start making this kind of content block, then I'm going to start making this. Everyone's going to be mad, and the whole system's going to implode.
Yeah.
Do I think Zucks is crazy for a lot of reasons? Absolutely. But there's a dynamic. If you start censoring one thing and you start censoring another thing, like what's going to happen? I have a friend who actually works at like they're contractors for Facebook to look at the content to see if it's appropriate or not. The things they see are god awful. So there's one thing there. The second thing with that is, it's hard, and we'll see this with Twitter or with TikTok this week. They started blocking MLMs from promoting on TikTok, which is absolutely phenomenal.
What is MLM?
Multi-level marketing. So you think Cutco, Avon, Arbonne, all
like
these companies,
pyramid
schemes, right? Which is so cool because like Facebook, like people live on Facebook for pyramid schemes. It's kind of amazing that they block them. But at some point, if you start like, that's where I think the question for social media platforms are: at what point do you become a moderation company versus a tool? And that's really delicate because that's a whole can of worms. That is everything you just said. Is like, how do you moderate that? Even with YouTubers were really pissed about the thing where like they have to like make their videos kid friendly or they're going to demonetize you, right?
Yeah.
If you trust your hands in the platforms and they decide we're going to demonetize you, that's your entire business that can go overnight for all we know, right? So it is a hard thing to figure out, and I wouldn't even know. The government is so like not tech savvy. I don't think they're going to have a clue on how to do this well. A lot of people are going to be mad, and there's going to be a lot of casualties in terms of community.
I think Joe Biden needs to hire Tom from MySpace
to rest in peace, Tom.
To cover everything. You know, that would be, is Tom dead? Or did you say
no? I don't know.
I was about to say, I was like, oh my God, did Tom from MySpace?
No, I hope he doesn't die. I would have stayed on MySpace forever if Facebook didn't come along and take everybody.
Yeah, it was so good. Back in the day, you'd spend hours working on HTML coding just so you can get like a great background and
layout. Yeah. Yes. And that's literally MySpace is where I like got inspired. It's really where my first social media experiences were in doing what I do now. And it changed my life.
And God forbid if you had more than 8 friends that were going to be on your top friend list, they'd be like, "Oh, why'd you drop me? What'd I do?" I mean, that's
why am I number 2 and not number 3? Like, why am I 2 and not number 1? Like, it's crazy. But like, you asked such a good question, and it's going to be a really hard one to navigate. But if anything, like, how you own your relationships is going to matter more than anything. Is that you never know what's going to get censored. You never know who's going to be deleted. I have a lot of friends who work in like I have someone who's a sex therapist, and all these people who are in the sex related industry, whether it's appropriate or, if it's somebody who chooses to do sex work or whatever it is, there's a range, like where you're a sex educator, all of that stuff. Like people are getting their accounts completely deleted, and their entire audiences of thousands of people will never come back to them. What do they do? How do they start? If only you had everyone's email that's ever listened to you on the radio, right? And they're gone overnight. And that's where, like, this is a social media tip here, is that's where getting people's emails matters a lot. Is that if these platforms go away, you can always have ownership of their emails, and that's a relationship that's yours forever. And I always say social media can bring you people, but you have to find a way to stay in touch with them, because you never know what's going to be popular or not. I have a huge following on Periscope, the live streaming platform, the Twitter bot. Periscope is shutting down in 3 months. I know.
What about all those people on Vine? Those people on Vine that
we
built
lost
up
everything. Everything.
Now, oh man, I could sit here and talk to you for hours.
I know we could. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff for sure.
I mean, do you feel like you would ever want to come back on again? I didn't offend you, or like, I think we had a great conversation.
You know what? I want to ask you this question. I think maybe this question will determine how open I am to the latter.
All right.
What anything you thought of, anything that I may have said or that you thought of as we were talking, or anything that you're thinking about is like what's something that you can take away from our conversation today? What do you think? Is anything thought differently? Is there anything new that you're thinking about or that you're going to wonder about because we talked today?
I mean, I will be more self-aware. Like, I will have second thoughts before I do open my mouth about something. I mean, I've gotten better at doing that. Because, I look back at some of the stuff that I've done and said back in the day, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like completely embarrassed. I was a completely different person than what I was back in the day.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I understand that. I need to be more self-aware, but I'm still gonna be me. Like, because I'm gonna second guess myself. If I cannot be random, I can't say and do, and I can't be as fluent as I am on the air if I'm second guessing every single thing that I'm saying.
It's hard. And you know what? It is a hard thing. And you're hitting on something that's really big. Is that this is true for comedians, right? It's like the same thing. It's like, if you have to think about everything, what changes about it? If you can't trust your gut, it's hard. It's hard, but I would say this. I don't know if I'm telling you to do that. I don't know if that's where, if anything, I don't know if that's what I'm saying here today. Maybe it is. I don't know. But it's your relationship with people that when you do say something that maybe you said in the moment that you didn't think too much about because you are being you, that you can have that conversation with them afterwards. And I think that whole thing with your emails or with any sort of tweets that you might have back with people, Facebook replies, I think that's going to make a huge difference for you, is that you can still be you and people will know that because you've talked to them and they get you. And I want people to take you for who you are. And I think it's amazing that you want that too.
All right. So, can I ask a question? Why'd you get so offended that I said I would pay to see you shake your booty on social media? It was a joke and it's a compliment. I was saying, but
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. It's because
it's not like I'm calling you a whore or something. Like you're going to be up there dancing for money.
But it happens to me too. Like I'm on another live streaming platform right now. And the first people say is like, hi, beautiful. Hello. Good to see you. They say something romantic or they say something sexual or whatever. And it's kind of what you were saying earlier about DMs coming in or whatever. It's because when I come and show up to your show, I'm showing up here as a professional. I am here as a business owner, as a social media person, as somebody who loves to talk. And that's what I'm showing up for. But the minute I start to be reminded that I'm some sort of sexual object, or maybe I'm somebody that somebody wants to date or somebody wants to imagine me making, the minute I imagine, even whether you think it or not, oh my gosh, is this guy looking at me for my appearance, is the minute where I'm like, okay, now I'm thinking about something that I don't want to be thinking about. It's distracting me from the thing that I'm here to do, to be a professional, to be a comedian, a conversationalist. And that's what I don't want to be thinking about. I want to be here fully present. And I don't want to have to think that there's something else going on there. And I think there's echoes of this within the workplace of people, like somebody, like I have a friend where if someone touches her at a workplace thing, she gets really, really uncomfortable. Instead of her doing her job, doing what she does, she's now thinking, oh my gosh, this creepy guy touched me. And for 45 minutes or an hour, she's thinking about this. She can't do her job to her fullest extent. And that happens with marginalized populations every single day. And I think my Twitter banner on my Twitter, I have a quote that I've like, oh, I'm not on my personal Twitter. Is that you don't want to spend your days. I'm going to tell you exactly this because I think this is one of the best quotes. I was at a workshop and this woman said this and it's 100% true. Oh gosh, I want to read to you as a full quote. There's a business cost to not bring your whole selves to the table because we're healing instead of working. is that if I'm here thinking about something that is making me uncomfortable, I can't be my full self to whatever it is that we're doing here. And that's where I want to be comfortable. I want to be me in the same way that you want to be you too. And if I can't be because I'm wondering, is he thinking about my body? Is he thinking about this? That's gonna suck. And I think I'm a lot tougher than I would say 90% of the women that I know when it comes to this. And so I'm speaking on their behalf as best as I can today. Call me out if you don't agree, but and the audience.
No, I'm not going to call you out. I
mean, not you. I'm talking about audience members who are listening to this. You're fine.
I do agree with you. There is a line of professionalism that you have to have. You have to have it. But what I'm trying to say is that women get upset sometimes, and that was a passing joke. But like, do you get offended if a listener or a follower on your social media like gives you a compliment? Like, it's not rude, but hey, you look very nice today, you look gorgeous or something.
It feels like it's something that's being sexualized, because if I say, hey Tuddle, you look gorgeous today, like, you don't, like, men don't get.
And I would say thank you.
Do men get catcalled as much as women do? Not all. I mean, sure, some men do, but like, women get a lot more people saying that kind of stuff to them. I'm not going to say that but I'm saying that's the thing, is that the minute I see gorgeous or you look pretty, it's like at a bar. It's like at a bar, it's like a bar, and it's a little bit dicey. But if the first thing someone says to me is something that addresses my appearance, it's something that could be sexualized in some way, is the minute that conversation becomes creepy and gross.
Okay, can I ask you? Before you talk to somebody, you see them first, correct? Am I right or am I wrong? All right. A lot of people, us as humans, I think we've become too uptight. We forget we are nothing but evolved animals. And we are, and somewhere in our brain, and I'm not making excuses for the disgusting things that men say all the time, but what I'm trying to say is we have that little part. Men have that in their DNA. We look at it. Well, you know, if you look at men, the males in the animal kingdom, they're the ones with the big flashy feathers and stuff. And yes, things are drawn apart. That we are evolved and we're better than that. But you also got to understand, we still are very visual type of people.
I mean, you were hitting this earlier. There's differences between men and women, absolutely. But it's like, but I don't want, as a person, I don't want that to be a thought in my mind. You know what? I would say the best dudes are the ones that can hide all the reality of what's going on in a dude's head. And I think you laid that out very clear in that video we discussed earlier. I don't want to know. If anything, I don't want to know. Apparently you're all animals ready to pounce on something, but I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
So you've never seen a guy, all right, you've never seen, have you ever complimented a guy on his looks? Oh, come on now. I don't think it's hard to believe.
I don't know. I don't think, and this is, again, there's a lot of dynamics.
That's a double standard though.
It's not, but when women are constantly having this happen to them on a very different level, like there's a great example of, like, how often have you had to lock your car doors the minute you got in? Like, I think so many women do that. How many women I know in Chicago?
I do that every day.
Great. That's awesome. How many women in Chicago feel like they have to carry keys in their hands in case someone attacks them? I think a lot more women feel that way than a lot of men do.
Move to Florida, because there's a lot of gun packing women in Florida that will light some fool up that tries to, get things twisted.
Let me bring one to the security guard. But it sucks that I have to even be worried that that's a problem. Like that sucks that women have to be 10 times more worried about that than anybody else. I just want to know that the reason I'm at a thing is not because of my appearance, is because I'm there because I'm somebody who is been brought in to speak, or is somebody that's going to be a professional representation. If I think anything less than, I'm going to be uncomfortable. And like I said with my friend, I'm going to be thinking about that a lot more than the thing that I've been brought to do.
So can I ask,
what?
When you go to appearance, do you just throw on any piece of clothing, not do your hair, clean your face, all that stuff?
No, I do some stuff. I put my hair down today. I wore a different shirt than my pajama that I probably was wearing all day.
Then you're admitting you cared about your appearance when you came on here.
I do care about my appearance, but not in a sexualized way. Look, everybody makes their own choices. You could wear whatever you want. You want to show some, you want to show less, but I do care about my appearance. Absolutely. You're not wrong, but I don't want to be thought of as like a sexual object. And anytime I hear, oh, you look beautiful, or something flirty when I'm not in a situation where I want to be flirted with, it's uncomfortable. I don't want that. So I do.
What can a guy do if he wanted to get your attention? You don't like to be sexualized. What is the perfect thing a guy could come up and say that would give him more than, hey, I'm not interested, get lost type thing?
is don't talk about sexual things. It's kind of like business and sales. If you're trying to make the close when you start off at the bat, that's not how it works. Nobody wants to be sold to right away. So get to know a person, build a relationship, say hi. Hey, it's great to meet you. Oh, I liked what you said in that speech. Talk to me as a human being. Like, it's very simple. Like, same with LinkedIn messages. People send LinkedIn messages being like, hey, you should hire me to write your book for you, or you should hire me to do your Facebook ads. And it's like, I don't even know you. I have no reason to know if I should trust you yet. So start with something that is nothing to do with what you're trying to get. Build a relationship with people. Don't start at, ooh, I'm going to be a creeper. That's not how you want to jump into a sale. Get to know someone. Find out what they have in common. Hey, I'm from Chicago too, or I heard you speak, or, oh, hey, you're at this conference too. Nice to meet you. Did you try the sushi over there? Like, so much easier to start building a relationship, because then you can start finding commonalities and things that you can trust about people. And I'm sure people relate to you in your story about taking care of your family, having difficulties with your marriage, or, trying to balance your career. Like, people can relate to that. And starting from that point in conversation, then you can build lots of trust. So here's the thing. We're having such a juicy conversation, and I think there's been a lot of topics covered. I'm sure even me, I'm like, did I say something that's offensive? Did I say something that bothered people? And if anybody from my world sees this, I hope you trust me enough to send me a message. And I'm sure Tuddle as well, for your people to send you a message if they've thought something was really juicy in here. And maybe then we'll have more conversations with all the questions that you get in your inbox as a follow-up to this conversation.
You've been giving me all advice, and if I could give you any advice.
Okay, take some. I'll take it. I am going to be tough, and I'm going to take the advice. Yes.
The day you stop caring about what people think is when you're gonna be a big star. Like, seriously, I'm telling you, you are a great talker. You're very fluent. Yeah, I mean, you're very fluent, very concise on everything, confident with what you're saying. But I think you could take it to a whole nother level if you get to the point where you don't care about other people's opinions. Do your thing, be yourself, and people will gravitate towards you.
100%. You know what? I think that I appreciate that. I want to say thank you, because you're right. For years, I've got so many stories that I'm like, do I say this? Do I say that? Can I come out about this? And then the fact that you just said you told some stuff about you going into a hospital for mental health stuff, like, that is the bravest thing ever. And I think that's so amazing. I think there's stories that I can tell. And I hope that I can live up to your imagination here of where I could go. And you're right. I could be more open. I could tell more stories. And you know what? At one point, I didn't care what people thought. That was something that was missing from my brain, but I think that comes to a lot of people, and I think it is a goal of mine to let it go a little bit more. But it's true, it's a lot of people have that, and I think that's something that you should be really proud of for yourself, because it lets people see you and be seen and feel connected, and I want to applaud you for that. So thank you for sharing that great nugget. I will take it with me.
All right, Shiley, people can check you out, your social media, Sherpa.com. And my glasses are really bad and fogged up because of the humidity here in Florida. So what is your handle where people can check you out?
Everywhere. You can find me at Hakimian45. So HAKIMIAN 45. You will get more of the personal Shiley. ShileyHakimian.com is a whole other world for my business. It has all the things that I get jazzed about and passionate about. But if you do need some social media insights, I do give away my favorite LinkedIn profiles totally free at yoursocialmediasherpa.com. But yes, Hakimian45 everywhere. You will know exactly what the kind of person that I am from everything that you can find of me on the internet. So
I want to do a lot of research on you, because I would like to do an interview, like a hard-hitting, anything goes type questions. It will be recorded. So if I cross any lines, then how about this? Okay. If we do the interview, it's recorded. Okay. I will give you final, before it gets posted, like if I go too far or anything, I will let you edit, but there's going to be some uncomfortable things, not personal stuff, just opinion wise stuff because I can form questions where it's going to back you into a corner where you're going to have to go one way or the other. You're not going to be able to play Switzerland like you've been doing. And you can't
call me Switzerland.
I mean, you don't want to piss anybody off. So that's why I called you Switzerland.
Interesting.
So what I'm trying to say is I would love to see how this goes. Because I think this would be good for your growth as a content provider. I think it would help you. Like, still be you, but
Interesting.
kind of like loosen up. It's kind of like an improv type class where I just throw the things out there, and you're not gonna have all this time to think about it. Like we got to lay down some
I
ground
know,
rules.
but that's
like,
harsh. That's like real harsh. That's like
here, how about this? Ask me
Rob
anything.
Blagojevich going on 2020 being like, don't ask me about like things I've done against the government. Like,
ask me anything off the top of your head right now, and guess what? If I don't know an answer, I'll bullshit my way around it.
I'm sure for many years of the radio, you figured that one out. Look, this is your skill set, right? You know how to ask questions, you know how to dive in, get juicy, right?
So what I'm saying though is that
it's like sounds like you want me to throw me into the lion's den. That could be really delicate.
No, I'm giving you editing things. So like I say, and you can keep this video. I'm giving her permission. If we do this interview, I will give her editing duties, so she will, but it will not air, it will not get posted anywhere until she goes over it and approves it.
Here's what I'll do. I'm open to seeing what this could be. I will talk with your lovely producer that I've been messaging, and we will schedule it on the calendar, and it'll be easy peasy.
All right. I hope you have a wonderful night.
You too.
I really appreciate it. I hope I didn't offend you too much.
I love getting into juicy topics, so the fact that we could get into something real, I think is going to be really interesting.
I could have gotten into a lot of stuff.
Oh, I'm sure we could talk for days. I'm curious to see what your audience has to say. So have a good everything, and we'll talk soon.
I don't know.
I want to know.
They're a little tough.
We'll find out. We'll find out. Make some new friends. We'll make some new friends this week.
Have a good night. Bye.
You too. Bye.